Hey everybody, and welcome to Meals with Melissa, where we give you healthier versions of things that you love to eat. Now today, we're kind of going to give you an overview on how to use a little bit healthier choices when it comes to dips, sauces, and salad food or salad dressings. Just because I don't know if you realize, if you ever look at the backside of your salad dressing, most of them have not only a ton of sugar, but also use a lot of unhealthy vegetable oils such as canola, soybean, all those kind of things. We want you to be able to make healthier choices. Honestly, your best choice is going to be making something homemade and taking it with you, even to your favorite restaurant. But we've got some options and some ideas for you. And today I've got my daughter Aspen here because she is the queen of coming up with some really great recipes. I get a lot of my great ideas from her. So really quickly, we just want to kind of give you a little bit of a heads up that we're going to be kind of showing you some good options and talking about some not so fantastic options, things that we, have kind of researched and discover, wow, that's not as healthy as we initially thought it was. So, any first comments before we get started?
Nope.
Okay, I do want to remind you that if you are watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can see every one of these when they come up. We do upload them as soon as we're done with the live stream on Facebook. It's also coming to Instagram very, very soon. So super excited. Let's get started with, I'm going to share one that because I want to participate somehow. Most of these are her recipes, but one of my favorite all-time options that she's given me, I call it sweet and spicy mustard sauce. It's super simple. She'll tell you she makes hers a little bit different than I do, but honestly, when it comes to eating healthy foods, one of the condiments that's pretty free for the most part is mustard. You just kind of have to watch the sodium. But she came up with this idea and it got me through 2 seasons of competition prep.
Me too.
So it's just literally taking mustard. Obviously you're going to have to make sure there's some room in there. So we kind of like empty one and then refill it with some mustard. Add a little bit of liquid stevia, the unflavored option, and I use the mild Valentino's hot sauce and some water to water it down. And this is you can see it says mom. This is my option for sweet and spicy. And you really kind of have to play with it and see what works best for you when it comes to flavor wise. I like mine a little more towards the mustard side, and Aspen.
Well, I mean, yours is a little more mustard and hot sauce.
Okay, yeah.
I just use a little bit less of it, so it kind of tastes a little sweeter. I don't use more of this, I just use less of the hot sauce.
Yeah, so it really comes down to what flavor do you like the most. I use the mild because I don't like it too spicy. And we talked about watering everything down. Listen, this is just supposed to be a little bit of flavoring on your salad to help it taste good, right? It's not supposed to be thick and, now my mom taught me to dip my salad in the ranch dressing, but that's not really what we're going for here. So great options. Now, when it comes to commercial, even the sugar-free, you got to be really, really careful. Now, I think this is one of your favorites at this point.
Yeah.
So Walden Farms is not my favorite. I'm not going to lie. When it comes to brands with the healthier versions of things, some of the stuff is not so great. Like, don't try the chocolate sauce. Not fabulous, right? But if you pay attention, try some of them. This is the one that they like. Now, I know she had some issues. Did you have some issues on their...
So they're redoing a lot of their recipes, and so a lot of their flavors just don't taste good anymore. And I'm sorry to say that, but even this one has always been my favorite.
This is before the Thousand Island.
Thousand Island.
Yeah.
But they still changed it, and it doesn't taste the same, but I can stand it, and it's good. It's a good option. But the other ones, honestly, I wouldn't even try if I were you. But it depends on the person.
Right. And to me, a lot of the Walden Farms taste a little too chemically, and honestly, you don't want a bunch of chemicals in it because that's where, that's a toxin.
It doesn't taste too chemically. I just feel like it tastes very vinegary. Because
they
make it vinegar based.
Yeah, right. Now, I did look at several of these. Also, Hues makes a bunch of sugar-free ones. But what I find out, because I'm definitely an ingredient list reader, is that the Hues actually involves canola oil, vegetable oil, soybean oil, and those are not great choices. I know that we're taught that vegetable oil is heart healthy. It is not. It is actually processed with industrial chemicals, and it's not a healthy option.
I also want to say, yes, please do pay attention to the ingredients, because if you're somebody like me who has a super sensitive body and gut and all of that,
digestive issues,
this does have some ingredients, for example, like xanthan gum. Even the slightest bit bothers me for the rest of the day. Right. We have found out that I can't do xanthan gum.
Right.
So like when I do this, it has to be watered down because it's towards the middle of the ingredient list, and like the top of the
has the most.
The beginning of the list has the most of that ingredient. And so this one's a little further down. So if you water it down like you should.
Yeah, then you don't get quite as much.
Then you don't get quite as much of that ingredient.
Yeah, 100%. So again, you know, and a lot of these, they're looking to use sugar substitutes, right? Which again, not a bad option. The problem being is that they're not all exactly healthy for you, or you might be sensitive. I can't do a lot of erythritol because it starts to give me a little bit of digestive distress. So keep that in mind there. So, all right, next, let's talk about another one. What one do you want to cover now?
Let's talk about the taco seasoning.
Okay, awesome. So like more for a taco salad or something if you know, want a little extra taco flavor, or I know a lot of people like ranch. That's a little harder one to recreate when it comes to healthy ingredients, but this is a great option.
Yeah, so if you like for full dairy stuff like sour cream, a good replacement is Greek yogurt. And
Absolutely.
My favorite Greek yogurt is Too Good yogurt, obviously because it's lower in sugar and calories, and it's a good sour cream substitute, so you can use it on more than just salad.
Absolutely, because it's tangy, right? So it kind of mimics that tangy flavor of sour cream.
So for taco dressing, you're gonna water it down, obviously. So you get sour cream and you mix it with taco seasoning. It doesn't have to be this kind, but we get the Kirkland, the McCormick Costco size version.
Big size because we have to.
And again,
so really be careful when you're using commercial options. So even with taco seasoning, which I know you think, okay, well, it's just taco seasoning. Unfortunately, one of the ingredients, if you start looking through here, one of the ingredients is sugar. Now this cornmeal. Yeah, the first ingredient on this one's cornmeal. This one actually doesn't have sugar itself, but a lot of them do.
It used to. So they redid their recipe. It's higher calorie and higher sodium.
Yep. So again, just pay attention, and you can actually make and combine the ingredients yourself. So don't think that it has to be commercial. You can take a day and make a bulk batch, and that way you have something to eat through. So
yeah. So basically, just take a serving of that, mix it in with the Greek yogurt, water it down. You don't have to, but I mean, if you want more of a dressing consistency, water it down.
And notice we're not giving you exact amounts because this really comes down to flavor and figuring out
personal preference.
Yeah, personal preference, 100%. So that is a big part of it. Okay, so let's really quickly, oil and vinegar is always a decent option. I did not grab the olive oil that we have, but we always have some sort, well, it's giant to be honest, an olive oil, usually extra virgin, cold pressed. Avocado oil works great, macadamia oil works great, and then a little bit of balsamic vinegar.
I love red
wine vinegar is a great option as well.
Good. You could use apple cider vinegar, just be careful because it's vinegar and that's...
And you really don't want to...
messes with your diet.
You can, pH. And you don't want to obviously overdo the flavor. So again, you're going to have to kind of, just like everything else, you're going to have to test some things out and see what works for you, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so another couple of things. You can make your own salad dressings in general. And to be honest, I actually take a lot of these things with me when I go out to eat. So, you know, I usually have some sort of cooler with me, so it needs to be, you know, refrigerated of some sort. Now, this is one that I use that I would recommend you don't overdo, because I like ranch. I grew up on ranch, right?
You could do that and mix it with this as well.
You could. You actually could do a little bit of that. The only downside to the Colonel Seasons is that it does contain some corn syrup solids, which is technically a sugar. So because I don't really use anything, a whole lot of sweet throughout my day, I'm actually okay with doing a little bit of that. That's kind of that balance thing that we're going to use a little bit of.
And you have to be careful because I started measuring mine.
Yeah.
And let's just say I was using a lot and consuming a lot of sodium.
Yes. So yes, you have to be careful. Now, if you're eating super clean, you do want to make sure that you are salting or adding sodium to your food. So yes, just not too much. The problem with you know, and what we hear most of is reduce your sodium or reduce your salt. Yes, if you are eating a lot of processed food, salt is one of the ways that they preserve the product. So you're going to be getting much more salt than you really need. Now, for the average healthy person, you're probably just going to pee it out. But the problem is that most of America has some metabolic issues that may make that a problem. So
that, or they don't drink enough water.
Or they don't drink enough water, right? Because it really is about the electrolyte balance, not necessarily the sodium itself. Mm-hmm. Okay, so fun other things that we found.
For the sweeter side.
For the sweeter side, if you want to dip, you know, some carrots or something. Or we talked about protein pancakes. We'll have some options for that on another time as well. Using a little bit of PB2 mixed with some... I actually like it with the vanilla Too Good. Now, they don't just make the little tiny 5.3 ounce Too Good yogurts. They do make them in bigger versions, so it's a little more cost effective.
32 ounce.
Yes, so we get that because, again, a lot of us use it in our household. But you can mix any, you know, some flavors with that, whether it's sweet or savory, and give yourself some great options as well.
All right.
Okay, so if you choose to make a mayonnaise-based dressing, you have to watch the mayonnaise, guys. Most of them use some sort of a vegetable oil, a canola oil, a soybean oil. Again, those have actually been found at this point to damage your DNA, believe it or not. So if you're of childbearing years, that is probably not your best option. There are some healthier versions. Fortunately today, now that people are starting to become more health conscious, this is one I found at, where did I find that one at? I believe I found it at Winco yesterday. So, and what are the ingredients are all organic.
So avocado oil, water, egg yolks, whole eggs, vinegar.
Right.
And then seasonings.
And it says right on there that it is canola oil free and soy oil free, and that it uses cage-free eggs. So again, you're just looking for healthier versions, and I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't cheap. I think I paid like $6.50 for this little tiny thing. But I don't use a lot of mayo, so that can be a great option.
Especially if you're making it with something.
Right, adding other ingredients.
Yeah, for example, so like fry sauce.
Yes.
2 years ago, I was a genius one day and decided to make homemade fry sauce. So basically, it's just mayo. You can use a little bit of hot sauce, but it's definitely mayo, reduced sugar ketchup.
Yep.
A little bit of barbecue, a little bit of mustard if you want it.
Sugar free.
I use seasonings, like garlic, salt, pepper, and then mix it together, water it down, and then even if you just use a serving of this and you water it down, you won't need the whole thing.
Right, and you can use that, listen, potatoes are not necessarily off limits. If you bake them and if you're not adding a bunch of garbage to it.
Air fry.
Air fry is phenomenal. So
we have an air fryer.
We do have a giant air fryer back there that we use actually quite frequently. That's why it's become countertop. But keep in mind that depending on what your metabolic issues are at the moment, if you're diabetic, that might not be a great option for you. But if you're just trying to eat healthier and you actually cook and cool your potatoes, it changes the chemical structure. And then these are great options instead of all the stuff at the restaurant that you're gonna put a ton of
campfire sauce.
Yeah, you just have to be careful. Again, it's not always necessarily the product itself, it's what the ingredients are that make it a little bit more unhealthy for you. So really quickly, we do carry quite a bit of sugar-free options. We've been doing this for a decade, at least I have. I'm always looking for something new. I have clients that bring me some really great options, and then I try to share that with you because, of course, we all vote with our dollar. The more that we buy healthier options, the more they're gonna try to produce those because they sell, right? So we've been using a lot of the different flavors of the Hughes BBQ sauce. That's our favorite. We've tried, I think I tried the Walden Farms ketchup once, and
I don't know. Walden Farms dressings. No, Hughes dressings. I'm sorry, you said Walden Farms, did you?
Well, for the ketchup, I wouldn't use the Walden Farms ketchup, but I do believe that Hughes just came out with a ketchup. So
and a chicken dip.
And a chicken dip. So again, you have to read the ingredient list. Here's the funny thing: my clients will send me, because I allow them to text me 24/7. They will send me a picture of something and say, "Can I have this?" I'm like, "Let me see the back." So then they send me the back, we look at the ingredient list, and I actually make them answer my question. Read the ingredient list, tell me what you think is a good or a not good ingredient in there, and then we talk about it.
A good rule of thumb is if you don't know what it is.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't be putting it in your body, right? Listen, it's, again, anything that's, a chemical, a number, something, it's a toxin, right? That wasn't something designed to go in your body. And where does your body store it? Do you know where your body stores it? Toxins, like the chemicals and extra preservatives and things that they put in foods. Where does your body store it when you eat it?
Are you asking me that question?
Mm-hmm. Where does it store it? Do you know?
Everywhere.
Stores in adipose tissue.
Yeah.
Right? Adipose tissue or body fat is your survival mechanism, right? So if it's not something that's supposed to be floating around your body will just usher it away and put it in your adipose tissue. So that's one of the main reasons a lot of people get sick when they start to burn fat. Mm-hmm. Really interesting, isn't it? Mm-hmm. All right. Again, so pay attention because, again, in this day and age, people want to become more health conscious, and the companies are paying attention. There's a lot of new sauces and things that you can try. Again, read your ingredient list. Make sure it's something that's you're not sensitive to it. It's not causing you some issues. If you're not sure, try it and pay attention to how you feel afterwards. Sometimes you have to kind of write things down and track what's going on when you're not feeling so good.
I've been doing that a lot lately.
Right, so this is what? This is a steak sauce.
This is steak sauce. So Hughes has a lot of everything. They have Polynesian sauce. They have Italian dressing. They have
Yeah,
barbecue, 100%. Steak sauce, teriyaki marinade, orange marinade.
There's a bunch
all the
of them,
things,
right?
But you do need to measure.
You do need to measure, you do need to pay attention. Walmart has, even though it's not my favorite store, has started to carry a lot more of that product.
Well, here's the thing, is especially their marinades, it's very liquidy. So if you're just pouring it, you're getting about 5 servings.
Absolutely.
And if you look at it, the sodium is pretty high.
And so the one thing that I used to teach people when they look at a nutritional label is, I would say, what's the most important part of that nutrition label? And they would say, well, maybe the sugars. I'm like, well, they kind of use some loopholes on that one. Actually, the most important piece of information on a nutrition label is the serving size. Because if it says 2 tablespoons and you've just put, half a cup on there, it doesn't mean anything, right? You're not really paying attention to it. You have to know portion control. So, so there's great options. Now, listen, if you go out to a restaurant, and most restaurants, sit-down restaurants, have some sort of a salad option, grilled chicken, grilled steak, put something on there. You just have to pay attention to what else is on there. Croutons are probably not your best option, and their dressings obviously are commercially made. You can take your own dressing, or I've been in a position to use just a little bit, squeeze a lemon wedge on there, and use a little bit of salt. What works best for you when you do that?
What, when I don't have an option?
Yeah, or just when you go out to dinner.
Make sure you ask for it on the side. It's not a big deal.
Right?
Like, I have a client who, she had to go to Panera to get something, but the serving size of Mayo was huge. So I said, ask for the side and use half of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, you can combine things, the barbecue sauce and the yogurt.
Oh, I do that. It's really good on your salad. Don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah.
Barbecue and Too Good.
Right? So just try some different things, see what works for you, and then make a note of it. Again, I always have a cooler in my car, so even if we last minute decide to go out, I've usually got something that works for me one way or another.
And yes, some of these options, since they're healthier, are more expensive.
Yeah.
They are. But if
you don't
it's not a big deal to water them down. They do not taste any different.
Right.
Let me tell you something. Since we started using so much of it, because there's multiple people in our house using it, I started watering it down, and nobody has noticed.
Yeah.
Nobody has noticed. And then your 17 servings goes into 27.
100%.
Especially the Walden Farms. It might take a little bit because there's not a lot of room.
Right.
But
so really, I think your best bet is to make something from scratch if you can, because obviously then you control what's in it, right? Because you don't always know, even like if you're at the restaurant, you don't always know what's in it. Sometimes you have to ask, and sometimes servers have no idea, right? Next best is, bring your own dressing, something that works, something you've tried and is a decent option. And then, your final option is to probably, something that we just talked about, put it on the side, use a lemon wedge. A lot of places do have oil and vinegar. There's usually an option. Listen, it just takes some practice. You're not going to have this all down the first day. I know it can be a little bit overwhelming, but if you start paying attention, I've been doing this for a decade. That's why I have figured out all these things, and I want to share them with you so that you can make some good choices and know what works and what doesn't, right? Last thoughts?
No, just, it's all up to you.
Try it out. It's really not that difficult. So, guys, you can visit me on all my platforms. As a matter of fact, I'm going to leave a link down below that takes you to all my social media platforms. So if you want to connect with me, you can message me directly on Facebook Messenger. I love to chat. I love to answer questions. I'm an educator. That's what I do. Be sure to subscribe on my YouTube channel. All of these go up within 2 days of the live. They do disappear from my Facebook stream at some point, so keep that in mind. I do have a new partner platform where you can actually learn very, very simple, to the point nutrition, education, and lots of things are coming up on that. New content every week. I will leave all those comments down below. And if you have a great idea, you'd like to share a recipe or something that works for you, let's share it. We need to have a healthy community. We all love each other and get along, and we want each other to be healthy and happy. That is why we do this. So from the Fillmore household, have an incredible weekend. Thank you, and stay healthy, my friends.